facing the police every single day.
Can I ask a question for Kuharski?
Oh, yeah.
Can he work on, can you get this to him? Can he work on getting rid of the ordinance that bans filming government officials in a government space, dude? That's insane.
Lord. That's my wife works at the library. And
right.
They've been dealing with that. And we get it at the fire department nonstop.
But what's sad is you let some people record there and some you don't.
It's that First Amendment, man. It's rough. It drives us crazy. You know, that First Amendment just carries weight.
But right, and it's free speech. I mean, if you're there to get records, file a complaint, or you just want to, tour through there. I mean, let's say, the people that love to record is the Japanese. What if a Japanese person came there and was recording? I mean, are they gonna trespass them and possibly arrest them like they did the two guys a while back?
Yeah. So we talk about this a lot. Is like, I'll bring it up to him because I actually don't know his stance. I know I've talked to the city manager about it.
Right.
Because you have that struggle of like doing business, having your First Amendment right, and then also
just the right to come in there. You're a tourist.
But then you also have that like.
What?
No, it's like.
Did you know less people would be doing it if it wasn't illegal? That's another one.
So you can do it,
right?
And there's no problem with it. The hang up or the problem they've had at the library is once they publish an employee,
right,
and then they start making money off of that employee,
right.
But as far as being able to record,
right,
like they can't.
And they're doing it. It's not, and it's just not free speech. It's free press. It's just being an American. We're a republic, not a democracy.
Yeah.
And the way they shoved it through was like a democracy.
So
next are they going to say let's kill people? I mean, what I'm saying?
Well, that's why like people say under free speech, they say free speech and then they take away free speech.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like that's like when I hear people all the time as proponents of free speech, and then they immediately are against free speech.
That is correct.
Absolutely.
It is crazy. It happened here, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody called because I don't agree with the baby killers wanting to kill babies. I think that's bad. I was almost killed. I was adopted, luckily. Okay? But somebody for the past weeks have been calling on them where they have the legal right to sit there on the grass. It's crazy, man.
I think people have gotten confused, like civics. I love civics. Like,
right.
I'm a civil servant. I've served in 2 branches of the military, law enforcement. I do fire now.
Right.
And I think what's been lost is the difference between public and private.
Right.
Like I think people have completely lost the concept.
I agree with that.
Because you'll see I'll hear people make arguments about I don't participate in Facebook stuff.
Right.
I think it's weird.
Right.
To give a guy all that stuff.
Right.
But
that is true.
But
which all the agencies are data mining.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what my favorite was like. Back when Obama was president.
Right.
There was they got made metadata. Right?
Yes, that is true.
Three months of metadata.
That's correct.
And people shit themselves over it. And I was like, yeah, that's fucked up.
Right.
But then when it came out, they're like, oh, they just bought 3 months of data.
Yep.
From these 3 companies.
That's right.
But all of that data is up for sale to every other country, and
it's
anybody
crazy,
who wants
man.
to buy it. And nobody.
That is true.
And that's why I see a lot of issues where I'm like, there's a legitimate issue there.
There is.
And then everybody focused on Obama.
Right.
Which was fine.
Right.
But then I was like, so easily they were taken off of that.
Correct.
And then the same thing with this Facebook stuff. I'm like, you have a First Amendment right, but then you also, I'm like, Facebook isn't public.
If a government official runs it, and here's an example for you too. Ask Mark about this one. Okay, on Mark's Facebook page, he's already a sitting council member.
Yeah.
So he's already a government official, and he's rerunning. So on his Facebook page, he's only allowing free speech to people he likes. He's literally blocking people that he doesn't like. Is that legal?
Well,
and it's a Trump case that answered it. When Trump was running, they said you got to let free speech reign, Trump.
So those cases, I personally feel like private's private, public's
Right.
public, and
Right.
we need to have a public forum
Correct.
that.
Yeah, this is a public forum, and if the government runs a public Facebook page, it's a public forum. You saw what
But they still. That's the thing. Facebook still owns it.
No, that's true. But if a government official runs it, I agree. If there's a terroristic threat, you can get rid of that. But you know, and I know.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not even for that. I think that distinction between, because people get confused with like, this is a public forum. You have every right to say whatever you want in this forum.
Right.
This is a private, and private people can let anybody they want into their club. Right?
Gotcha.
As long as it's not commerce, right? Then once you get into commerce,
Right.
because that's where Facebook and the Twitter or whatever
Right.
it's called now, all of that now, I'm like, are you becoming broadcasters? Because
Right.
if you are, then now you need to fall under broadcasters, not private industry. You know, because you still act like it's a club, but then
Right.
you control, like, who's going to have more say, like ABC
Right.
or Facebook in the next
Right.
election? Who's going to have more
Well,
say?
actually, you just said the right thing. It's media that controls us now. TV, radio, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. You know,
So-
Twitter must bought it and made it kind of free now.
So I tend to be a bit off with the general population here.
Right.
I was born and raised here. Like, I'm very like small government.
Right. Which is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is like our state is owned top to bottom by one party, right?
Correct. Right.
But all of my problems, I'm supposed to be like, oh, it's these other. I mean, at some point, you're going to take accountability for
That's correct.
control. I was like, I don't know. Like, it's getting tired blaming other
Right.
people for what's happening in my state when
Right.
none of them are in my fucking state.
Right.
You know,
Right.
But with that, you know, Mike, you have this situation where our lives, like I'm told every single day for
Right.
decades now, all of my problems are because of the government,
Right.
but not the people. Like, and the answer is to give the people in power more power.
Right.
They just need absolute power,
Right.
And then they're going to solve all the problems that the government's causing that they're in charge of,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's like Ron Paul, not his son Rand Paul.
Now you're
right?
speaking.
Well, so-
they're both good.
Well, see, that's where we're going to disagree. Rand Paul,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, your dad, he was awesome.
Yes.
He didn't have enough balls to actually be a libertarian.
Right.
He still had to consider himself a Republican.
Right. Well, that's the only way you can get in.
And then his fucking
Yeah.
kid, what do you do for a living?
Right.
Where's all his entire life? His health insurance has been paid by me,
Right.
right?
Right.
All of his paychecks come from me,
Right.
but yet he hates the government.
Right.
But everything in his life is government.
Right.
His dad worked for the government. He worked for the government.
Right.
But he's going to save me from.
But he's
He's going to
trying.
save me
That
from.
is-
What's he going to save
He's
me from?
trying to. He's trying to infiltrate, just like he is.
He's trying
to make
and
it
he's
better.
like, look, if it takes my entire life and I have to get a government pension and I have to live off the government dime my
Right.
entire life to save you from this thing,
Right.
I'm like, come on, man.
Right.
You know, like your dad takes nothing away from his dad. Ron is the shit.
Right. Correct.
You know, but we live in this situation where I'm told every day that here's all the problems, and
Right.
all you got to do to solve it is take power from my political opponent.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but who owns the 6 media markets?
Right.
And are they loyal to this country?
Right.
You know, like all of these industries that are multinational now.
Right.
Like, they have it's not like IBM in the 50s was like America.
Yes, that it was
Oh,
America.
right.
That is correct.
My
Pure-
grandfather was in the IBM in the 50s.
See, there you go.
I mean, pure and I mean, that was like an American company. How many of these corporations, they don't give a shit less about America.
I agree.
You know, but who has more control over my life? Like the people that make like Kraft Foods,
Right.
or like some Democrat in Colorado
Right.
that sits on the agricultural committee.
Right.
You know, but I'm told every day, don't look at them, right?
Right.
Or this is what, like gas prices.
Right.
Everybody knows for years now, right? Everybody's been upset about gas prices.
Right.
All the gas companies have made record profits,
Yep.
right? So that's not inflation. Like, if you're making record profits, that means you've done your costs,
Right.
and now you're just taking us. Because why? How many people have you heard say enough with
Right.
the Saudi Arabians?
Right. Right.
People were more pissed at Democrats than Russians.
Right.
Who makes Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, right? These companies are just raking it in.
Right.
And every day they have like this like media machine to be like, don't look at us, pretend we're not here.
Right.
Right. We have a perfect scapegoat. Right. And that's
Right.
not an endorsement of fucking geriatric fucking dipshit.
Right.
Right. But I'm like, it's like blaming a poor person for like default loans.
Right.
That's what they do all the time.
They're stupid. They're dumb. The bank
Right.
took advantage of it.
Right.
Nobody blames the bank.
Right.
Right. Like interest rates. You can raise a national or like the federal interest rate.
Right.
That doesn't obligate the bank to raise. You know, oh, we moved it a quarter point. We're going to move interest rates 3/4 of a point.
Right.
What? I'm like,
Right.
who made you do that?
Right.
But nobody talks about the multinationals. Nobody talks about the bank. Nobody talks about. And I'm like, they're just getting away with this shit.
Right.
Because we have this like perfect scapegoat.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, is anybody want to like, or what was it, eggs? The eggs one
Right.
was the one that sent me over the edge.
Right.
Like, eggs are so expensive. Oh my god.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, the two biggest egg manufacturers. One, 300%, or I'm sorry, 316% increase
Right.
in profits that month, and the other
Right.
one was 400.
Right.
And I'm like, nobody has anything to say about that.
Right.
They've gotten everybody's outrage, and they'll just channel it to them.
Correct. Right.
You know? And I'm like, they're so fucking good at it.
Right.
So good at it.
Right.
And
Oh,
I
we
don't
should
see-
ban that.
And that's the thing is like when you seem like, well, even when Trump was president, or you know, it doesn't matter any of them. But
Right.
Like, did the national debt go down?
Right.
You know, and
No, it
before
did.
20
It went up 6 trillion under him.
Before
That is
2020,
correct.
Before 2020. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, wow. Like, does anybody want to hold this? Anybody
I
accountable
agree.
here?
And Andy pushed the shot. It's all bullcrap.
And then what was the, like the Obamacare thing?
Right.
We had 56 votes before Trump
Right.
took office,
Right.
and we had none after he took office.
Sad, man.
And nobody, I mean, people changed their entire life
Right.
off of that health care.
Right.
Nobody wanted to change anything.
Right.
You know, but that's why I'm like, when it comes to stuff, is like, I don't like most people.
Right.
I understand, like, I live in a country where if somebody's from Montana
Right.
and somebody's from downtown New York,
Right.
it would be really fucked up if they agreed with my representative.
Right.
Right? Like, how the fuck? That shouldn't make sense. Like, I want to be like, what the fuck is that representative talking about? Because
Right.
they're representing this group of people.
Right.
That is not me.
Right.
That I have probably little to nothing to do with.
Right.
But they got to have the representation.
Right.
And the same way as like somebody who lives in the mountain of Colorado, what the fuck do I have in common with them?
Right.
Like a little,
Right.
but I shouldn't agree. Like I should be, when I hear them talk, I'm like, I don't know, I know that shit makes sense to me.
Right.
But people took that and they're like, that's my enemy now.
Right.
And they've turned politics into like, oh, it's a game.
Right.
I'm like, it's not a fucking game. It's our obligation as citizens.
That's correct. Hey, I'm running out of time. Can I ask one more question? Okay. Do
Yeah.
you know anything about?
First Amendment,
Yeah, you're doing
the
good.
Facebook speech.
Yeah,
free
and
speech
here's
on
the other
Facebook.
one. Somebody gave us a tip, and we're trying to pull records. Somebody said that Mark might have been destroying the other person's signs, and we pulled records, and they said there's an active investigation. Is that true?
I don't know anything about that.
All right. All
But
right.
I'm pretty big on signs.
Right.
I've only seen, the only time I've seen signs manipulated
Right.
was back in 2012. That was Rick Scott's campaign. back
Right.
then.
I was here
Scott,
back then.
yeah, Scott versus Chris.
Right.
But yeah, I hate that shit.
Right.
Like,
All
it
right.
drives, it's like, and I live here in town, so I kind of see the signs. I make note of them.
Yeah,
you know?
ask him about that because somebody gave us a tip. We're pulling records. They won't release everything yet, and that's, come on, we can't be wrecking each other's sign. I'm not saying he did, but they're saying something is going on.
No, and I know those are always complaint driven. So
Right.
That would just be so dirty. Like, why would you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
yeah, I mean, and it's like,
I mean,
So
that's worse. That's worse than a liberal taking down a Trump sign. In fact, because it's like it's your little neighbors. It's local
Right.
politics.
Right.
or the other way.
It's like
All right. So yes, you got 3 topics for him. You got get rid of the
Facebook.
thing, banning
First
filming. That's crazy. Yeah, free speech, First Amendment, and then the Facebook thing. The Trump case proved you got to let free speech reign, and he's not. And then the last one is, did he have anything to do? Are the police investigating him right now for possibly wrecking signs? So I'm looking at my clock. I gotta go. What's your name?
I'm Tony.
Andy. Good to meet you. I already know you.
yeah. Nice to meet you.
You have a good day. I gotta go, man. You have a good day.